For thousands of years, the Earth has been a graveyard of forgotten worlds, cities swallowed by jungles, empires erased by sand, civilizations that once shaped the planet, now reduced to dust. But what if these disappearances were not random? What if ancient civilizations followed the same hidden pattern? A pattern we are only now uncovering. A pattern that may be repeating again, right now. Today, we perform a timeline autopsy. We take the lost civilizations of the world, place them on the table, and search for the invisible forces that killed them. This is the story of how ancient worlds vanished, and what their deaths whisper about our future. Every civilization has a heartbeat, a rhythm of growth, innovation, belief, and power. But somewhere in that rhythm, a crack always appears. Sometimes it begins with the climate shifting by a single degree. Sometimes it begins with leaders chasing power they cannot control. Sometimes it begins with ordinary people losing faith in the world they built. Collapse never looks like collapse at first. It looks like a small change, a missing harvest, a disputed succession, a slow decline in trust. And then, the fall begins. Let's trace the pattern. The Maya were master astronomers, architects, storytellers. They carved entire cities from stone and aligned them with the stars. But around the 9th century, something strange happened. Populations abandoned their cities. Monuments were left unfinished. Royal dynasties vanished. For years, people said the Maya simply disappeared. The truth is more terrifying. The Maya collapsed from a chain reaction, a mega-drought, over-farming, political fragmentation, and finally, the collapse of belief. When people stop believing in the system stops existing. The Maya didn't vanish. They walked away, far older than Egypt, far larger than Mesopotamia. A civilization of carefully planned cities, sophisticated drainage systems, and peaceful trade networks. But around 1900 BCE, the Indus Valley began to empty out. Not from war, not from disaster, but from a slow-motion environmental shift. Rivers changed course. Monsoons weakened, crops failed. Nature quietly removed the foundation, and the civilization simply faded. Some collapses roar. Others whisper. 11,000 years ago, long before cities, before writing, before agriculture, a mysterious group built a massive stone complex, Göbekli Tepe, perfect circles, giant pillars, carvings of animals now extinct. And then, suddenly, the entire site was buried, intentionally, as if erased on purpose. Did the builders collapse? Did they migrate? Did a ritual end? No one knows. But this is collapse in its earliest form, the disappearance of meaning. The Akkadians built the first true empire, a network of cities, armies, and trade routes that stretched across Mesopotamia. Then the climate shifted. Rain stopped. Dust storms consumed farmlands. A great famine began. Desperation followed. Cities that once thrived became abandoned shells. Akkad fell not from war, but from something far more ancient, the earth changing its mind. After thousands of years of research, scientists have identified 4 repeating forces. 1. Environmental shock. Climate change, drought, volcanic eruption, disease. 2. Resource mismanagement. Over-farming, deforestation, water scarcity. 3. Social breakdown, inequality, loss of trust, political fragmentation. 4. Cognitive inertia. The belief that things will stay the same, even when the world is already changing. Every major collapse in history is a combination of these. Civilizations rarely die from one blow. They die from a chain reaction. Ancient people left clues. Tree rings, ice cores, buried cities, abandoned roads, mutated pollen, dried riverbeds. Each one was a puzzle piece. Only today, with satellites, climate models, and archaeological data, Can we see the full picture? Civilizations die when they grow faster than their environment can support. Growth always creates pressure. Pressure always creates cracks. Cracks always seek collapse. But collapse is not the end. Here is the twist. Archaeologists now believe civilizations don't truly vanish, they transform. People migrate, knowledge spreads, cultures evolve into new ones. The Indus Valley became the roots of later South Asian cultures. The Maya reorganized into new political systems. The Göbekli Tepe builders evolved into early farming societies. Akkadians blended into Babylonian culture. A civilization is not a city. A civilization is a memory. Look at today. Climate pressure, resource strain, political fragmentation, a decline in institutional trust. We are not witnessing something new. We are watching an old pattern repeat. The question is not, will our civilization collapse? The real question is, what will we become after the reset? Ancient civilizations vanished not because they were weak, but because they were human. They grew, they innovated, they believed, they struggled, they adapted. And when the world changed, they changed with it. Or they disappeared. Their ruins are not failures. They are warnings, messages etched in stone telling us nothing is permanent, but nothing is truly lost. Civilizations vanish, but humanity continues. The pattern is ancient. The future is ours to write. Every civilization believes it is different, more advanced, more stable, more permanent. But history shows a feedback loop that always returns. Growth creates demand. Demand creates pressure. Pressure creates instability. Instability demands change. And change, if ignored, becomes collapse. This feedback loop is the quiet engine of history. It doesn't roar, it ticks. Slowly, patiently. Waiting for a society to push too far. Ancient civilizations didn't collapse because they were weak. They collapsed because they were strong enough to grow, but not wise enough to see the cost of that growth. This loop continues today. But ancient worlds left us the blueprint we refused to notice. Archaeologists now see three repeating phases across almost every vanished civilization, from the Maya to the Akkadians to the builders of the early Nile kingdoms. The pattern matches. Phase 1. Stress. A warning period, crops decline, rivers shift, leaders struggle for control, people feel uncertainty, but life continues. Most societies ignore Phase 1. They're moving too fast to feel the tremors. Phase 2. Fracture. The system begins to break. Cities fight for resources. Classes separate, beliefs divide, trust erodes. Fracture doesn't look like collapse. It looks like disagreement. But inside the disagreement, the foundation breaks. Phase 3. Cascading failure. The final phase. Institutions crumble. Trade networks collapse. Knowledge is lost. People abandon cities. The world resets. By the time Phase 3 begins, collapse is no longer a possibility. It is a momentum. Civilizations fall long before they hit the ground. One of the most haunting discoveries in archaeology is this. When civilizations collapse, knowledge collapses first. Writing systems disappear. Technologies vanish. Architectural techniques are forgotten. Entire sciences evaporate within a generation. Take the Indus Valley. Their writing system remains undeciphered. Not because it was simple, but because the civilization that understood it collapsed so completely that no one preserved the key. Or the Maya, their knowledge of time, of celestial cycles, of mathematics, centuries ahead of their age, was nearly erased after the collapse of their cities. Civilizations don't just lose buildings, they lose memory. And memory is civilization. Archaeology often shows ruins, stones, maps, and bones, but collapse is human. Imagine a farmer in the Akkadian Empire, watching his crops fail for the third year in a row. Imagine a Maya craftsman leaving an unfinished monument, walking away as his city empties. Imagine the fear, the confusion, the sense that the world was ending. Not in fire, but in silence. Most collapses were slow enough to feel, but fast enough to overwhelm. People didn't know history was happening. They only knew life was changing in ways they couldn't control. This is the emotional core of every vanished civilization, real people caught in forces larger than themselves. We often imagine ancient civilizations vanishing overnight. One dramatic event, one catastrophic moment. But the truth is more complex. Civilizations rarely end suddenly. They unravel. Sometimes the unraveling takes decades, sometimes centuries. The Roman Empire didn't fall in a day. Easter Island didn't collapse from one decision. The Indus Valley didn't vanish from a single drought. Collapse is not an explosion. It is a dimming, a slow fading of culture, order, belief, and meaning. The world doesn't end with a bang. It ends with a whisper few recognize until it's too late. After studying thousands of years of collapses, one lesson stands out more clearly than any other. Civilizations die when they stop adapting. The Maya couldn't adapt to their droughts. The Akkadians couldn't adapt to climate chaos. The Indus Valley couldn't adapt to shifting rivers. The builders of Göbekli Tepe couldn't adapt to cultural transformation. Adaptation is survival. Stagnation is extinction. But here is the final truth. Collapse is never the end of humanity. It is only the end of a chapter. Every collapse in history paved the way for a new rise, a new culture, a new knowledge system, a new identity. Collapse clears the old world so a new one can grow. And as we stand today, surrounded by the same forces ancient worlds once faced, we are not watching the end of civilization. We are watching the beginning of whatever comes next. The ancient past is not a warning of doom. It is a map, a guide, a reminder that humanity always rebuilds. Civilizations vanish, but people endure. And the story of humanity continues, written again and again across the ruins of forgotten worlds.